everyone, it's Maddie.
I'm V, and today we're going to be talking about our favourite books of 2017.
We've picked 3 each that we liked separately and then 5 that we both loved.
So let's get to it. My first solo pick is None of the Above by I.W. Gregorio. This is the story of Chrissy, who finds out she's intersex at 18 and it completely changes her life. Suddenly she's not allowed to run track for her school and all of her peers turn against her. I really loved the whole tone of this book. It's educational, it's heartbreaking, but it balances all of that with light moments and humour and the way that Chrissy handles things so maturely. I absolutely loved the father figure in this story. He was an angel, and the romance didn't overshadow the changes that Chrissy was going through. If you have any recommendations based off this book, please let me know in the comments because I would love to read more.
My first pick is the first book I read this year, and I knew from the moment I finished it that it would make it to my favourites, and that's Murder Most Unladylike by Robin Stevens. It's about Daisy and Hazel, who create a detective society at their boarding school and solve the crime of who killed their science teacher. I love this book so much that I read the other 3 books in the series that were equally fun and adventurous. I could never put the mysteries together, which is really odd for me and probably why I enjoyed them so much. Overall, it's just a well-crafted historical middle grade, and I hope to read more like this in 2018.
My next solo pick is Beware That Girl by Teresa Toten. This was one of the first books I read in the year too, and it has stayed with me. This book is intoxicating. It's about Kate, who has her sights set on an Ivy League university, and her friend Olivia, but someone is moving in on Olivia and Kate is the only one that can really see what's happening and the only one that can save her. This story is told in one of my favourite formats, which is now and then, so you flip backwards and forwards and you only get the full picture at the very end, and that's what made it such a fast-paced read that I tore through it in one sitting. Beware That Girl is dark and gritty, perfect for fans of Gossip Girl, or if you like domestic noir like Gone Girl.
Next for me is a book that shouldn't come with any surprises because I did a whole separate review on it, and that's Moxie by Jennifer Matthew. I loved the feminist themes in this one and the really positive representation of female friendship. It's all about Viv, who creates a zine inspired by the Riot Girls movement, and after she hears a sexist comment in her school and wants to overturn that injustice. As the book progresses and more issues are released, which you actually do get to read in the story, more and more girls join the movement and work together to solve all of the issues at their school. If you're looking for your next great feminist read, then I couldn't recommend this one more.
And lastly, I have Strange the Dreamer, the start of a new series by Laini Taylor. I adored her writing in Daughter of Smoke and Bone, and Strange the Dreamer did not let me down. This is the story of Laszlo the librarian and Sarai the goddess, and they have a connection through their dreams. This story is absolutely beautiful and I was spellbound the entire way through. I would say that the pacing is very slow and it kind of dragged in the middle, but by the last 100 pages I couldn't tear myself away. Laszlo and Sarai's relationship was probably one of my absolute favourites of the year, and they're going straight to the top of my OTP list. I also loved all of the secondary characters on the mortal and immortal side of things, and I can't wait to see how these 2 worlds are going to clash more in the second book.
And finally, I have Letters to the Lost by Bridget Kemmerer. This is the story of Juliet, who writes letters to her mother and puts them on her gravestone, and Declan, who finds those letters and takes it upon himself to respond. This then creates a dialogue between the pair as they share their troubles and grief from the past and the present. There is so much chemistry between these 2 main characters, but there's very little romance in the story, and it took me until like the last 50 pages to come to terms with this because they fall so well into the princess and criminal stereotypes, but I really appreciated that it steered clear of too many romantic threads and focused just a lot on them sharing with each other and building a relationship. This one is also quite a slow build as Juliet and Declan are just communicating via email and these letters, so they don't know each other's true identities, and this did make me feel a little frustrated, but just the right amount to keep me reading. This also has some excellently fleshed out secondary characters that really hit emotional notes that I wasn't expecting in this, so if you really enjoyed All the Bright Places and The Serpent King, then this is going to be your next favourite book. Now we're moving on to our joint favourite books, and these are in no particular order, but the first one we're going to talk about is Forever Geek by Holly Smale.
This is the final book in the Geek Girl series, and we did a whole series review. If you have not started, we would recommend it. This was the perfect ending to the series.
It gave closure to all the main characters and also brought back cameos from secondary characters throughout the series.
Forever Geek is the height of Harriet's emotional journey. She would not be here had she not gone through everything else in the series, and to see her mature is really rewarding.
This also had some super fun modelling adventures like an underwater mermaid shoot that just added the same level of quirkiness and fun as the rest of the series. It's sad that this is probably the last time we'll see Harriet Manners, but we're really excited to see whatever Holly Smale does next.
Next we have Freshers by Tom Ellen and Lucy Iverson.
This is a story of Phoebe and Luke, who are going into their first year of university. They knew each other at at secondary school but didn't really bond, so Phoebe thinks that Freshers is the perfect opportunity to do so.
Freshers is absolutely hilarious and chock-a-block full of relatable moments.
Whether you're in university, yet to go, or have already been, this is a really accurate representation of what it's like, showing both the funny moments and the serious ones as well.
The cast of characters in Freshers is absolutely amazing, and it's very much a character-driven story.
We really appreciated what they did with the ending because you can't solve a relationship drama in 360 pages.
We have high hopes that these authors are going to return to their university world in sequels, and maybe we'll even get to see these characters again.
Next, we loved Unboxed by Non Pratt.
This is the story of a group of friends who go and rescue their memory box from their old school when one of the friends dies.
For each character in this box, there's a secret and a memory, and because the friends have been apart for quite a long time, they don't really think that the others will remember what those things are. Overall, it's a story of reconnecting and realising that just because you don't see your friends doesn't mean you're not friends anymore.
Although Unboxed is super short, it has an emotional impact, and I would love to see these characters in a full-blown novel.
They've got so much character development because they've got this memory and this secret, so they really feel like characters that will exist after the book finishes and before it began.
Unboxed is super diverse and has an LGBT core.
In 2018, she's coming out with another book from this publisher called Second Best Friend, and we're hoping we love it just as much as this one.
Next we have Invictus by Ryan Gordon.
We'd really recommend reading this with other people because there's just so much to discuss, especially around all of the characters and their backstories and the mystery. We were never right as well, we had so many different theories, so this one is definitely one that's improved by reading it with other people.
Invictus is about Far, a boy born out of time, and he's given the opportunity to command his own ship and bring his friends with him, except they're pirates. They're stealing precious artifacts throughout time until time itself starts to unravel around them.
We loved every single member of the crew, and even though this book is told in third person, it's done so effectively that each character has their own voice.
You can't help but appreciate the craft of Invictus. It's perfectly plotted, has incredible pacing, and obviously the characters leap off the page.
There are so many different kinds of relationships represented in Invictus. Far and Imogen are cousins, Ram and Imogen have this unrequited love, Priya and Far are in a committed relationship, and this found family aspect of the whole crew really reminded us of the Lunar Chronicles and the Heroes of Olympus series.
Invictus was very much a surprise for us, as neither Maddie or I particularly enjoy sci-fi, so we were kind of hesitant going into it, and I think that helped our 5-star rating in the end because it blew our expectations out of the water.
And the fact that this book is a standalone but somehow manages to deliver all of the action of a trilogy just makes it so amazing.
And lastly, we have The Names They Gave Us by Emery Lord.
This is all about Lucy, whose mother's cancer has returned, and instead of spending the summer with her like she originally planned, her mum wants her to volunteer at the camp for troubled kids across the lake from their regular Christian camp.
The Names They Gave Us presents complex family relationships. The parents are people. Not only are they present, but they have their own secrets, and a lot of this story is about Lucy coming to learn more about her parents outside of that parental role.
The fact that Lucy's mother's cancer is always in your peripheral vision sometimes makes it hard to appreciate the really sweet moments in this story, but the summer camp atmosphere manages to sweep you up, and especially the big friendship group makes you feel like you're just reading a hug.
The characters are splendidly diverse, and again there are lots of different relationships between friends, and there's a slow burn romance, which meant that this book ticked all of our boxes.
Out of all the books we've mentioned in this video, this is the one that we really want you to read.
So these were all our favourite books of the year.
It's definitely going to be hard for 2018 to live up to this.
Make sure to let us know what some of your favourite books of the year were in the comments.
Thank you everyone so much for watching, and we'll see you next year.